Now, as we continue to look at the enterprise topics, remember the section is comprised of enterprise-wide issues that can impact the IT audit and assurance professional in the planning and performance of their engagement. That might very well include, the upper management and the people that are running that particular organization, as far as, that's a part of this whole enterprise, and some of the things they do or the decisions they make can, of course, impact us. Now, the guideline, and that's what it is, a guideline, how to deal with that, how to steer through those situations, should provide the audit and assurance professional with information such as executive actions, external events, and decisions that might impact the IT department. Again, it's a way of making sure we have the right information as we get into this process of doing the IT audit and assurance. Now, when we look at the enterprise topics, we can actually break it down into even further subcategories. And I'm just going to tell you the subcategories, what they are, so you kind of get an idea of what it's trying to focus on as a guideline. So one of the sections is subsection or subcategory 3210, which is the implication of enterprise-wide policies, practices, and standards on the IT function. 3230 deals with guidelines for the implication of enterprise-wide assurance initiatives on the IT function. Section 3250 would talk about the implication of enterprise-wide assurance initiatives on IT assurance plans and activities. And the last subcategory, 3270, talks about additional enterprise-wide issues and their impact on the IT function. Now, that's all the more in detail. I'm going to get to any of those particular subcategories. But what I hope you're seeing here is that as we're talking about the enterprise, we are really talking about the entire scope of the organization that we're working with. And a lot of this, the enterprise types of topics are dealing with that upper management and how it can affect what we're doing in the audit, how it can affect the plans, how, of course, their influence works with the policies, practices, and standards for how their IT function is currently running. And so, again, guidelines to help get us through this process of being able to successfully do the audit and assurance of the IT organization. Now, as we look at some of the other assurance guidelines, some things to think about under Section 3000 are things like the IT management processes. Now, that section is going to provide guidelines for the IT audit and assurance professional with an understanding of the types of IT management and operations they might find and work with. So, this gets us back to where I said there's no cookie cutter to say that every IT organization is the same or this is how it should run, right? And I take that template and move it over to a new company and say that's how it should run. That doesn't happen for us. So it's a way of helping us understand the types of management and, again, giving us guidelines for using the information we know about the organization to perform the planning and taking out the audit and the assurance parts of what we're doing, right, to be able to perform those adequately. Now, these guidelines can aid you in planning and scoping, and that's what I've been trying to convey, is that the more we understand how upper management's working, their policies, their practices, how we understand the organization, all of these, guidelines help generally give us a way of figuring out how we want to plan and scope the IT assurance activities that we're going to use. These guidelines can also help us get insight into the practices and procedures of the IT departments. Now, this guideline should focus on planning, organization, and strategizing of the IT department activities. Now, when we talk about the IT management processes, a couple of the other things that we look at is that it's broken down into a lot of different areas. And again, I'm just going to tell you about these different areas that we want to look at the guidelines for the types of management processes. And remember, that's what these are, guidelines for these different processes. And so this kind of gives you information to saying, okay, what is there for me to look at that might detail my particular assignment in this auditing process? We would start off with Section 3410, which would be the IT governance, which of course would be the management of the IT organization. From there, a section, a guideline that talks about the determination of the impact of enterprise initiatives on the IT assurance activities. Another guideline for using the work of other experts in conducting IT assurance activities. And a lot of these should sound very familiar with the ISACA guidelines that I was talking about before, because again, we're looking at third party when we're talking about the use of work of other experts. That's that third party, outside party. Of course, we can look at the guidelines that help us in understanding the approaches to project management, which is section 3420. 3425 was on the IT information strategy. 3427 was on the IT information management. 3430 deals with guidelines for plans and strategies. 3450 deals with the guidelines for your IT processes. 3470 was on your IT risk management. And 3490 were guidelines that understood the support of regulatory compliance. So I think a lot of those titles of the subsections are pretty intuitive. Project management, information strategy, information management. And so remember that these are guidelines that you can use to help you through the process of your audit and assurance that you're going to be doing on these particular organizations.